Citi has called Italy's referendum the single biggest risk on the European political landscape this year outside of the UK. In a note to clients, the bank said if the vote on constitutional reform fails, Renzi's government could fall, triggering political chaos in Italy. Well, Simon, you're looking at all sorts of risk across on the euro trades.
Yep.
We haven't seen a recovery in the euro despite lots of recoveries on other market asset classes since Brexit. So what do you do with it? Is referendum in Italy a big issue? Is it still the risk around Brexit? What's the biggest issue?
Well, I think you're absolutely right to highlight the lack of recovery. I mean, here we are in a world where the easier monetary policy or keeping monetary policy settings absolutely the same for the remainder of the year is the core story. That should be fantastic for the euro. It always normally is. And here we are stuck at 111, and I think that says exactly there are other factors weighing here. And there's only one factor you can really genuinely pin on this over and above the UK knock-on effect, and that is the political story. I mean, we mentioned Renzi there. We mentioned the Netherlands a little earlier. We obviously know the story with regard to France. But what about Austria, where we've got a rerun of the presidential election taking place? All across Europe right now, we have the rise of populist politics, and it is very much anti-centrist, it's anti-Brussels, it's anti-Frankfurt. And frankly, yes, I do think it's a risk. And people need to start thinking rather more seriously about, okay, if the UK can leave the European Union, potentially who's next? And if they do, is it going to be somebody who's also a member of the euro, which is a far harder question.
What does that mean for risk appetite on currency markets? Because you've got to assume that there is monetary policy, risk appetite comes back into stock markets and into foreign exchange trades. If euro is left out, where do you go? Where do you look for that risk appetite?
Well, so it's a really tough question, because right now, obviously, there's a few currencies that have benefited on the safe haven side, like the yen and the Swiss franc. My feeling is that actually it heads back incredibly, given the circumstances, actually more towards emerging markets and more towards the commodity currencies. I mean, I think it's telling that the Aussie hasn't weakened on the back of the political uncertainty. I think that you probably will see more money pouring into the places like China. I know it's amazing given the circumstances and the slowing growth story, but frankly, where else is there?